Hello friends, family, and internet strangers! Stephanie here with another road trip. This one should, in theory, be the last time I drive cross-country for a very long time. If you have not seen my previous videos, I spent 8 months of the pandemic in New York with my parents, which meant I drove from Burbank to Albany, New York, and then from Albany, New York, back to Burbank, California. But then I was in a wedding. And at the same time, I had also been temporarily laid off from my job due to COVID still being a thing. So I decided to take an extended trip and drove back from Burbank, California to Albany, New York again. Now, this should be my last drive from Albany, New York to Burbank, California for a very long time. All of these trips I have done have been planned and replanned multiple times for pretty much every reason you could think of, whether that's the timing I had being different or weather, wildfires, political unrest, COVID numbers being really high, COVID travel restrictions being in place, COVID restrictions being lifted, potentially earlier than they should have been. All of these have been planned differently, and this particular trip is happening 3 weeks earlier than I planned for it. Let me show you a little bit of the planning. It is currently the night before I'm leaving for this trip, and I still don't have exactly a detailed route yet. Originally, I planned on doing a northern route because I have done a southern route the past 2 times. But then I really wasn't that excited about the northern route anymore. And also, one of the stops that was going to be a highlight of that, I decided was too far out of the way if I wasn't going to other places. And then in my next version of the trip, I ran into a problem. The key stop for me of that trip, I couldn't figure out whether it was open or not. So I decided if I didn't know if I could go to the museum I wanted to or not, that was getting cut out of the trip because that other route is so boring for at least 3 days. 3 boring days is a lot in a row if you don't have really anything else you're excited about. So I plugged into Google Maps Wilmington, North Carolina to Burbank, California, because as I was trying to think of where else I would want to go, Wilmington just kept popping into my mind again. Even though I was there on one of my previous trips and I lived there for so long, I love that place. I thought maybe it would tell me to go all the way on I-40 from Wilmington all the way until California, but it didn't. I could not believe it wanted me to go through Covington again. I took that as a sign, because y'all know if you've been watching these videos before that I have fallen in love with Covington. I decided since that was the only route that really piqued my interest, going to Wilmington just made sense for me and where I am emotionally at the moment. So I decided, yes, that is what I'm going to do. With the exception of a few odds and ends and my overnight bags for the hotels, everything else has been cleared out of here. Laundry is done. Everything is in the car. I also have my snacks all ready to go. These are my snacks for this particular trip, although honestly, most of them will probably be eaten in quarantine after the trip. I have some leftover Easter candy. I've got tagalongs. I've got some of that fun popcorn stuff from Fresh Market. My mom made me some M&M cookies, which was very sweet, and also I have my favorite munchie mix. It is about 5 after 4 in the afternoon, and I am headed to my first destination. Let's get on the road. I'll see y'all in a little bit.
Have a safe trip!
The sun has finally gone down in Jersey. It's been about an hour and a half of the sun just in the most inconvenient spot. I'm stopped at a rest stop. I have made it to my hotel for the first night, day 1, complete. I drove for about 6 hours today. I am now in Washington, D.C. This is the halfway point between where I went to college and where I am from, so I have driven through here a ton, but never gotten off the highway. Since on this trip I planned on leaving in the afternoon instead of the early morning, I decided to stop in D.C. for the first time. I am going to head to bed for tonight and get up early in the morning so I can go check out the monuments before I hit the road once traffic dies down a little. Good morning from Washington, D.C., where there are a lot of people running and some pigeons. I am walking through the National Mall right now. My goal this morning was to be out of bed and out of the hotel before 8 a.m. I achieved that goal. It's now just about 8 a.m. I left the hotel early enough to make it here on time. It is a beautiful morning, 55 and sunny. Only people out right now are me and the bikers and the joggers, and I will not be biking or jogging, but I am walking pretty far today. Even though these aren't the steps from Rocky, I'm definitely humming the Rocky theme as these people run up and down the steps. There are a lot of reasons why I've never been here before, part of which being timing. I've just never really wanted to take the time to stop, but also American history was never my strong suit. There are some aspects of history that I love and others that I'm like, especially since not a lot of what we were taught was completely accurate. So I am looking around these buildings and I'm like, I don't know what that is. Do I care what that is? Also probably not. I do like pretty buildings though, and these are some pretty buildings. I also didn't do a lot of research before this trip because I just added this stop 2 or 3 days ago, so I don't know what most of these buildings are. I know that the Capitol is back there somewhere. I don't know what's over there. I know that the Washington Monument is the tall thingy, and the Lincoln one is the one at the end, and that's about all we got. At least some of them are labeled, like the Department of Agriculture and the Smithsonian. I do know that that one is the Washington Monument and the Lincoln Memorial behind it. This one is also a very pretty building. That is the National Museum of African American History and Culture. In addition to a lot of pretty buildings, there are also a lot of pretty boys with dogs. I'm definitely enjoying the view. There are ducks sunbathing. Oh, I woke them up. Hello, duckies. Oh, hi. Are we going for a walk? Okay, bye. I just enjoy watching the ducks. I'm very easy to please. There are gnats everywhere, so I'm essentially just walking around like this. Probably look like a crazy person because everyone else is just accepting the gnats and running through them, and I'm over here swatting like a maniac. The one thing my mother told me I had to do was go inside the Lincoln Memorial. There's some sort of graduation or something going on. It looks like maybe doctors. They all have lab coats on, but there's some sort of graduation going on out here. Or at least photos of graduation. Just finished my 2-mile walk from the hotel all the way down to the Lincoln Memorial. Now I am headed back to the hotel, another 2 miles, so 4-mile walk to start the day. Just getting ready for all the junk food I'm about to start eating in the South. Hello, squirrel. Hi. Okay, bye. I am back at the hotel. I have cleaned up a little bit. 4 miles is a lot, especially when it started to get a little bit toasty towards the end. And now I'm ready to hit the road. My goal was to leave between 10 and 11. It is 10:40, and I am about to check out of the hotel, so right on schedule. I stayed at the Fairfield Inn and Suites by Marriott in downtown DC. It was about half a mile from the Capitol, and it was really nice and really cheap for what I expected for DC. This was less than $100 for the night. I have made it to Bojangles country. I love Bojangles. I will probably get multiple Bojangles Diet Pepsis over the next few days. I know, Bojangles, you think sweet tea, but no. Bojangles Diet Pepsi is the best Diet Pepsi. That is it for part 1 of this trip. Make sure you have subscribed so you don't miss part 2 and beyond. I'll see you for part 2 in Wilmington, North Carolina. Oh, I know this one. At least, I hope I do. If I get this wrong, that's embarrassing. That's a house that's white, so that's the White House, right? Yeah, pretty sure that's the White House.